Hey everybody, Carl here, and as always, good to see you. And before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. Your wonderful comments and thoughts were very, very much appreciated on my last two update videos, and I just wanted to put that out there. So thank you again. And I thought now today we thought we'd get back to business and start working on the Zenith again, as far as just going over stuff that you normally would on a radio. Now what I've done is I've taken all the data from all the tubes, and I made just a little note, scratch note, that I can reference to. And what we want to do is we want to check we're basically going to check the plate voltage and the screen voltage on all the tubes. And because normally if those are all in the ballpark, and you got to remember that voltages now are a little bit higher than what they used to be, so they're going to be off a bit, but as long as you're in that area, you're close, you should be fine. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a quick run, and if we look at a couple other voltages, well, that's cool too. But what I wanted to cover today is the very basics of, you get a radio, you've kind of went through everything a little bit to make sure like none of your transformers are bad. You've kind of looked at the tubes. There's different techniques. We can go on about that later on in checking, where you can take you can just take different readings and find out if you're okay. The main thing is if you've got capacitors that are completely out that might hurt your transformer. In this case, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have a power transformer coming in, but you can still wreck tubes. You can do a lot of things. So there's some basic stuff. Now, we went over the capacitors a while back, and for the most part, some were replaced, and that was done a while ago, but they should be fine. That's why I turned it on. It was a working radio. But what we want to do now is, even though it's a working radio, there's still a possibility that maybe one tube's getting way too much voltage. Maybe one tube's not getting enough. Maybe we're not getting the performance we need. So this is a test that we do just to run down and see if all the voltages are right. And this applies to transistor radios and transistor circuits too. You go in, and especially if you're having a problem, go in and start checking those voltages out. You'd be surprised. All of a sudden you find one that should have like X amount of voltage, and it has nothing. Or it might be way, way high, and you're like, whoa, this is going to burn out. Well, that gives you a reference point, that gives you an area to look at. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to set the camera up, and I'm going to try to get you guys dialed in so you can kind of see me going over the radio, and I have the I have the meter set up to where we should be able to see it on the screen. So give me a second here, and I'll be right back. Okay, now the first tube that I want to look at, and I'm kind of going by what my drawing is. What I did, I don't know if you can see this real good, but here's the design that they show, and this is the top. We're looking at the top now on here. Well, to do what we're going to do, we need to look at the bottom. So I kind of just flipped it around and made a quick diagram so I know which tube I'm looking at. Because, after a while, it's a lot easier to go there, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that one, do this one, do that one. So that's where we're up to right now. Okay, and the first one I want to do is the 50C5. And that's this tube up here. It's up in the corner. And according to this, and according to the schematic, on the plate we should have around 110 volts, and on the screen grid we should have around 94. So let's take a look and see what we have. Remember, we're going to be higher because we have more current than what we would have had back in the early 60s, right? So, well, look at this. And I'm showing 116.5 volts. And according to this, we should have 110. That's not bad. Maybe 6 up. Now let's go to, and that's pin number 7. That's pin number 7 on the 50C5. Now let's go to pin number 6, which will be the screen. And here we're showing 104, and we should have 94. So both of them are about maybe 10 volts higher than what they should be. Now let's keep checking things out, because if that ends up being a little too high, and you got to remember, our 50C5 is our power tube. So that one's going to have a tendency to have a little more strength. Okay, but let's go to the next one. And our next one is going to be the 12AV6, and that's the one right next to it here. And according to our list, and this is the one, if you remember, this is the detector. So according to this, it shows 48 volts, and that's 48 volts on 12AV6. That would be, I believe, 12 volts on number 7. So let's go to number 7. Let's go around here. Okay, we've got, or 52. We should have 48. We have 52. So that's good. That's correct. Now, just for kicks, let's go to, let's see what happens. What do we have at pin 1? Okay, 0.8, and we should have 0.9. So, all right, those are both pretty darn close. So, okay, our next tube, now that's the top one's up here. The next one, let's go to this one over here, and this is going to be our 35W4. And our 35W4 on our plate, you know, going out, we should have around 118. So that will be pin number 7. Let's go to pin number 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we have 126. And that's actually what we got before when we first went over this. So we're 16 up on that. So see, we're already seeing higher voltages. And why is that? Because, like I said, this radio was probably made to have, at the most 110, 115 coming in. And nowadays we're 122, 123. So I would say we are still in the ballpark. So now our next tube should be the 12BA6, and that'll be this one right here. And on my little list, remember my little list I'm looking at, 12BA6. On the plate, see, I should have 94. Okay, 12BA6, which would be pin number 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? No, that can't be right. Am I looking at this right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, try this one. Okay, we've got 101, and it should be, what did I say, 94. So we're close. And then our screen, once again, pin number 5. Oh, okay, number 6. All right, okay, so let's go to pin number 6. There we go, 100. So we've got that 100 on pin number 6. and number 5. Next, 104, 103, 100, 102. So now that might be something we want to think about, because according to this, both 5, which is the plate, and 6, which is the screen grid, they both call for 94, but yet we're getting a difference. So I'm going to make a little note here, because we might want to go back on that one and look and say, hey, why aren't they the same? Do we have a resistor that's getting a little hot, or out of specs a little bit? So, okay, so I'm going to put a little star right here, because I think it's good practice. And if they're, it's one thing if they're both high, if they're both low, but if they should both be the same and there's a difference, which isn't a lot of difference, but it's a couple of volts, is that going to matter? Well, that's something that we're going to have to look at. But it's something that we know. It's giving us information on this radio, right? Okay. So now we're going to go to the last. We're going to go to the last. I'm going to pull this off for that. Okay, we're going to go to the last tube, and that is our 12BE6. Okay, and according to this, we should have 94 on both of these too, and both of them, once again, they're number 5 and number 6. Let me bring this forward here. Hope you can see it okay. That's this tube right here. And 7, here's number 6. We've got 100 volts, and here's number 5. Now see, on that one, they're both the same. So let's go back to our last tube one more time, and let's look at them again one more time, because like we said, there's something not right. That one is 100, and this one should be 100 too. Okay, well, it is. Okay, so I'm not sure what I did, but they seem to be okay now. So go figure. The world of radio repair and restoration is a mystical thing. Okay, so that's a quick overall view on what we did on this one. We looked at all of our tubes, and for the most part, they're all coming out a little high, but they're coming out close to what they should, and there's not a big difference in the readings. So that's good. That tells us, first of all, we don't have tubes that are getting way too much power, and they're going to burn up on us. They're not red plating or nothing like that. So the next thing, and like I mentioned before, because I've been in this radio a while back, and it's a working radio. If I would adjust it right.
Make sure that we're turning it to our favorite. We'll just deal at the end of the day with the best that we can. How should business owners,
so I mean, we got a working radio. It's not like we have to resurrect it, and that wasn't the purpose. The purpose for all this was to take a look at what the tubes are doing, which we've already done. What are the tubes? That's what we want to know. And then now we did a basic test of the voltage running into those tubes. And what we're doing is we're collecting information on this radio. Now, down the road, I have a couple radios that I want to work on. I've got a 1946 Philips that I really want to put together and get running. And I think what we may do is we may say, okay, for right now, we've kind of covered some real basics, and maybe we'll do one more video, and we're just going to compare some of the voltages or some of the readings of the resistors, and maybe some of the readings of the capacitors, and we'll see if everything looks good and looks right as far as that goes. And you know, an overall checkup. One last thing we should maybe do is look at the IF cans, and we'll take a look at the alignment. Can we make this radio even a little bit better? Maybe we'll do a basic alignment and check it. The alignment might be fine, and that happens. You know, everybody thinks, well, I got to align the radio. You don't always have to align a radio. I tell you what. Let me spin the camera back around. Give me a second here. Okay, I turned on the night thing. I was in black and white for a second. I couldn't get back. Help! I'm stuck in the past. No, but okay. So yeah, maybe we'll do an alignment, because you know, that way we can check the IF cans, and that'll give you an idea of what that's all about. But for the most part, like I said, you know, we have a working radio, so whatever we have to do, it's not going to be much. Now, you might come across a radio that doesn't even work, but at least you have some ground to stand on to get going. You know, and we'll go over that too. Like if it has a transformer, a power transformer, that's the first thing you want to check: is the power coming in? And without having to plug it in, you can, you know, if there's resistance on the primary side and on the secondary side, then there's a good chance that transformer is working. Then you know, keep working on, and eventually you'll find the area that okay, this is blown, this is out. Let's put that together, and then will it work? If it does, now you're a step ahead. If it doesn't, you keep on going, because there's got to be something else. This problem may have created another one down the line, and so on and so forth. One of the things you want to check your IF cans, because they're transformers too, little teeny wires, and if they get too hot, poof, off, you know, they're done. And then the only way to, you know, it all depends. If you're like a winding wizard, you might be able to fix them. If you're new to this stuff, your best bet is either find a parts radio or find another project radio, because you know, you're stepping into some deep stuff, if you know what I mean. So okay, so let's do that then. Let's plan on next time coming, we're going to check some of the components, and we might even do an alignment, and that should be fun. Okay, so until then, you know, during this this crazy time right now, a lot of us are stuck in the house, can't do anything. What a perfect time to study our radio stuff, you know, or do other things. But you know, this is the radio channels. radio. So okay, see y'all later on. Thank you again for all the support. Man, you guys are fantastic. I mean, and I say it at the bottom of my heart, I really mean that. I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Take care, everybody, and be good to one another, okay? Thank you so much. Take care now. Bye.